Did your elementary school teacher ever make you go and stand in the corner when all you were doing was trying to speak the truth? Is Barack Obama secretly Hawaiian? Are the Church of Scientology secretly trying to take over your town? Do the Jews secretly control the Israeli government? Don't get cold feet just yet, because it's always 90 degrees here in the conspiracy corner. Or at least that's what they want you to think.
Welcome to another episode. Here on the corner, Ted Turner just died. Brett's into some weird YouTube channel that I'll probably have to be tormented and have to see it myself and look him straight in the face and lie and say, I enjoyed it. This is another 90-degree episode.
YouTube videos and Wikipedia articles are a love language for me. It's why I'm here on the show.
Because, Brett, I want you to know in the most non-homosexual way possible, I love you. But no, you cannot get into my pants.
And yet you've never sent me a Wikipedia article.
You know what? Maybe I'll do that later tonight. Do you know what we're talking about today?
No idea.
That's the way I like it.
A fresh virgin mind, ready to be plowed.
So let me hit you with a hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
The conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
What if none of this is real? The simulation theory. What do you know? Go.
I like the Matrix movies.
Yes. That is what briefly inspired it.
I don't know if they're a trans metaphor or not. That's
trans as in like LGBTQ or trans as in some other root word?
Yeah.
Well, so I gotta ask, if we're living in a simulation, why the fuck did this creator make mosquitoes?
To spread disease, I suppose. That's mostly what they do from our perspective, right?
As my future father-in-law always likes to say, mosquitoes are like blondes, except for one thing in particular. When you smack a mosquito, it stops sucking.
Damn.
So, imagine creating galaxies, oceans, consciousness, love, music, and then adding a flying needle with hatred programmed into it. What do you think that is?
Like it's not malicious in its intent, is it?
I don't know. We might be in a simulation.
It's mostly the female mosquitoes that suck blood, right? Out of a like somehow they need it to build their nests and shit to raise their brood. Isn't that right?
Well, it's more like this, right? There's so many great concepts in the universe, and then you get the fucking things that are just like annoying as all hell. You get the mosquitoes, you get the moronic people, you're stuck in traffic, somebody cuts you off, and it's just these particular things that are suggestive towards, okay, what the hell? And you start to, the Matrix is a great example of this, to where don't look at the woman with the red dress. And what does Neo do? He looks at the woman with the red dress, and then he's surrounded by Agent Smiths. Now, that's a practice program before he goes into the Matrix for the viewers to understand. If you aren't paying attention and you're not like cognitive of what you are doing, okay, then you're liable to fuck up. Now, that does broach the subject of what's your opinion on déjà vu? Because if we live in a simulation and you have an experience such as déjà vu, which is this idea of I'm seeing this...
I mean, I've definitely experienced déjà vu before, but I wouldn't chalk it up to a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah, but it's also part of their selling point of if there's more than one thing, like a twin or a black cat or something that's superstitious, quote unquote, it's a glitch. So when you experienced deja vu, what was the sensation? What was going through you at that time?
I mean, it's sort of hard to describe déjà vu.
Okay.
A sense of, wow, I've been here before, or I've done this before.
What if deja vu was autosave?
Uh, no,
No?
no,
Well, you're no fun.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I don't know. It's a nice hypothetical.
I mean, simulation theory is its own thing. I don't know if I would try and put autosave into it and try and explain it away with deja vu. What I do know is the Tetris Effect.
All right. What is the Tetris Effect?
The Tetris Effect is where you play too many video games. You play too much. You play too much Tetris, so that when you close your eyes, you see the Tetris blocks.
Oh boy.
That's the experience it's named after.
Okay.
In high school,
Oh boy.
I developed an autistic obsession with Sid Meier's Civilization 5, the computer game.
What are you talking about? You still have that.
Yes. To a
Certain degree? Is that what you were about to say? It's
to a
a
degree.
burning
To a
degree.
degree.
We joke that you have a map porn addiction. Like, ooh, look at Texas, baby.
but I've
is that
moved,
you in a bikini?
I've
or is
moved
that
on
just
mostly
you?
to the Paradox game series.
You're really stepping up in your 12-step program.
The point is that in high school, right, I was obsessed with this video game where you could, if something went wrong, you could reload a previous save and take over from there.
So you would have
So-
a deja vu.
So,
Oh.
when I stayed up all night playing Sid Meier's Civilization 5, instead of studying for a test next day, I said, oh fuck, I've got to reload my save and study instead. Before I realized, fuck, that's not how it works. So that's my experience with the Tetris Effect, sort of the corollary, the opposite to
Deja vu.
simulation theory, of trying to explain reality in the terms of digital simulations.
So to further explain simulation theory, the theory suggests that reality as a human, the experiences that you are, for lack of a better word, experiencing, may actually be an artificial simulation created by a more advanced civilization. Instead of existing in a base reality, humanity could exist inside a hyper-advanced computational universe. The theory became massively popular after philosopher Nick Bostrom, Nick Bostrom, proposed the famous simulation argument back in 2003. His idea was that we definitely live in a simulation, though rather that if simulation, his idea wasn't that we definitely lived in a simulation, though rather that if a civilization becomes technologically advanced enough to stimulate conscious beings, there could eventually be billions of simulated realities compared to one real reality. Statistically, that would mean that we're more likely to be in a simulated reality than the original. The single idea is somewhat shattering if you think about today's day and age with AI and the advances in at least the last 10 years when it comes to VR.
I think I'm not a physicist. I'm sure you'll be shocked to know. I think part of the draw of this theory is like, in a video game where your computer can't really handle like all of the shaders, all the graphics and stuff, so you like try and turn down the settings to save on performance.
Well, what was it that you were telling me earlier that you just finished the anime Berserk, and you were describing the animation. It was, for lack of a better way of putting it, it was shitty. But it was you had made the comment of that a lot of animes are no longer hand drawn, but like stenciled or AI uses to, they generate something and blah 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 blah, right?
Sure.
So I think it's very interesting to think about the idea of everything around me that looks real is just generated, and
Yeah, I that was sort of what I was going towards. That Mr. Bostrom and similar believers in simulation theory tried to explain away various quantum phenomenon,
okay.
various shit about, like, why does observing a situation change its outcome? Why is so much of this shit that's real fucking tiny, like, unobservable? You know, what's the problem with trying to get quantum physics and relativity to play nice together, and trying to chalk some of that up to simulation theory, trying to chalk some of that up to, oh, well, they've turned down our graphic settings to save on processing power.
There was a meme I saw the other day where it was just this driving scene, and it was an Indian guy. He said, please, man who is playing me, would you please take the setting from hard to easy and please use your real-life currency to get me some in-game add-ons. I would like lots and lots of money, please. And I was... Yeah, that's a very...
Yeah, really.
Actually, it was part... Besides The Matrix, that comic kind of like started the wheel jerk for today's episode. So... One reason the theory survives culturally is because humans constantly experience moments that feel impossible to explain. Like I was alluding to earlier, déjà vu. Coincidences is another thing, but that can go back and be somewhat explained by chaos theory. Dreams that later resemble reality, which at some point we will be having our dreams episode where we kind of delve more into that idea. And there's also that, love at first sight, which in my opinion is somewhat bullshit. But that's this is a 20-minute to 30-minute segue for this entire theory. So it's meeting someone at the perfect time feeling distorted during emotional moments, but that's more of a consciousness. You're so focused on something, everything around you starts to warp. The human brain, it's a pattern detecting machine, and sometimes those patterns feel so bizarre, people interpret them as, they say in The Matrix, that's a glitch. So online communities are filled with stories of people claiming they witnessed duplicate strangers, missing time, objects disappearing and reappearing, timeline shifts, impossible coincidences. And most of these experiences likely have a psychological explanation. But emotionally, the argument can always be they feel completely real. So I'm not a big believer in... I think when something happens, and that starts to go into the realm of either chaos theory to religion to luck to, again, what we were talking about, coincidences, and it's all very interesting. So what do you think in respect to when we are experiencing emotional moments, right? Do you think that they go longer or shorter for you? Like I would use an extreme, which would be if someone passed.
I hate
no longer with us.
to just go in there trying to poke holes in your theory here about
do it.
Reality.
That's what this episode's for.
Being a simulation. But I would say that it's a matter of perspective, that it seems to slow down, and it seems to be more memorable because that's how I've perceived the events and how it's recorded in my very material brain.
Sure. The bigger the dick, the bigger the swing, as the old saying goes.
Exactly. Or like 18th century philosopher George Berkeley would have said that to be is to be perceived.
Well, who was the philosopher that said, I think, therefore I am, thus I know I exist?
That'd be Mr. Descartes.
And if I know that I exist, does that not necessarily mean that I am alive? And does it necessarily matter that I'm in a simulation as long as I'm living? I mean, I
Yeah,
definitely
but I
would
mean,
like to
like,
fly. That'd be cool.
how do you tell that you're not like a brain in a jar sitting on a shelf somewhere,
I don't know.
just fed illusions of a
I don't know.
physical sensation?
That is a great question.
I mean, something similar to the whole simulation theory is that uh, I had to Google it. It was Mr. Berkeley and shit, but
That's fair. I wouldn't know that off the top of my head either.
some people have, at least in the past, believed that reality exists in the mind, or in some cases in the dream of God. I don't want to go too heavy into religion.
So that brings up my next point. One reason simulation theory resonates so deeply is because it mirrors religious questions, sometimes more ancient than almost said post-mortem, as in death, but more modern times. They ask the question, who created us? Why are we here? Is there a higher reality? What happens after death? Simulation theory reframes spiritual ideas through technology instead of mythology. God becomes a programmer, heaven becomes another layer of existence, miracles become a code manipulation. It's basically Silicon Valley spiritually. No?
I mean, I think a lot of stuff that we touch on here in the conspiracy corner are sort of the
abstract
the thrown off vestiges of religion in the modern era, sort of trying to deal with and trying to cope with a lot of religious thought.
So
I think there's a lot of stuff, that people try and they try and keep their very literal interpretation of the Bible together, and that means stuff like taking, the heaven is a vault over the earth, very literally, leading to shit like flat Earth and Earth at the geocentric model of solar system and shit, or young Earth creationism and shit.
Yeah.
And I think there's other stuff where we haven't even talked about the giants yet. But yeah, I mean, biblical literalism is a hell of a drug. Whereas something like this is a little bit more subtle, sort of leaning on some of the same ideas, but trying to repackage it. A bit closer to like Ancient Aliens, trying to repackage some stuff about like Adam and Eve and creationism and shit in the outer appearance of science fiction.
Well, so no matter simulation theory exists, great, whatever. I'd like 1 million more views so that way we can make passive income. That not being the case, or maybe it is the case, you still have to love people, no matter what plane of existence you're on. You either love the omnipotent God, you love yourself, you love the other person next to you, you create life, whatever. You still experience pain. You still have responsibilities, and God forbid you have to answer emails.
Yeah, and like the Weasley guy in the Matrix, if you can perceive the stake just as well as you could in the real world, then what difference does it make whether you live out life in the simulation or not?
And again, I think this is a great ending point. To be or not to be, that is the question. Brett, do you think that we are in a simulated reality?
The joke that everyone's going to hate is that whether we live in a real reality or a constructed reality, we sure live in a trans allegory.
God damn it.
Your timeout is over. As the final echoes of our broadcast dissolve back into the void, you return from the Conspiracy Corner. A place not of whispers and shadows, but of reflection. Because in every tale of hidden hands and unseen forces, there lingers something far more unsettling. Not what is out there, but what lies within ourselves. And one final thought to carry with you back into that darkness. That federal agents are like opinions. Everybody has one, and they all stink.